on banks and their lobbyists. Labor not exactly shy about lobbying Washington itself. Here with some thoughts on what's really going on here. Thea is a policy director from the AFL-CIO. Thea, is this about class warfare or what?
It's not about class warfare. It's about trying to bring our economy back into balance. That we have a Wall Street and a financial sector that are too big, too wealthy, and are resisting any kinds of reasonable reforms. So we're just talking straight to Wall Street here.
Okay, but does it border on a little dangerous when a lot of your leaders advocate petitioning outside bankers or investors' homes? I mean, that gets to be pretty dangerous stuff, doesn't it?
We're not talking about going to people's homes. We've been at banks, we've been on Wall Street, and we were on K Street today. So we are out there telling the big banks that we want some reform on Wall Street and we want good jobs now. And I think that's a reasonable message. It's part of the political discourse.
You have been advocating going to people's homes.
No, I don't think we're talking about going to people's homes. We're talking about going to banks and ATMs. This is outside someone's home today.
All right.
We were at K Street today.
Okay, but service union leaders were targeting a lot of these guys' homes, which is your want, that's fine. But then don't you think it would be fair for a lot of protesters then to go to union leaders' homes and to see, well, how have you been doing and how well are you running things, you know?
Well, people can come over to the AFL-CIO anytime and talk about how we're running things, but we're not running anything right now, and that's part of the problem. We want Main Street to have some good jobs, we want workers to have a voice at the job, and we want the financial sector to be in its proper place, to be the servant of the real economy and not the master.
Where was this rage at the financial sector when they were behind and giving loans and mortgages to pretty much anyone with a pulse? And back in those days, no one in the labor movement was bemoaning that or criticizing that. You were riding the same wave that everyone else was. Now, that's fine back then. That was what everyone was doing. But it seems like your rage is, you know, a little late and a dollar short.
Well, actually, I think we have been critical of the financial sector for quite some time, and we have been talking about the kinds of reforms that are needed
No, actually,
to create
during the housing
jobs.
boom, Thea, no offense, you weren't.
Well, in fact, we've been critical about a lot of parts of the U.S. economy and the way it's run for a couple of decades, because it's been a couple of decades that wages have been stagnating as productivity grew.
No, that might be so there, but I'm just telling you,
grew.
when we were booming in the housing area, and you were urging, and many of your members were saying, you know, we got to expand lending to more folks, and that's just what we saw. And Freddie and Fannie were lending out, and there were a lot of complying banks. There were a lot of people at fault. I'm not denying
but
that.
You know, Neil,
the union movement was deathly
we were not
silent.
for the deregulation of the financial sector. We were not for the elimination of Glass-Steagall. We were not for allowing banks to go into the investment area. And we spoke out on it. We sent a lot of letters on it.
No, you were very much for banks lending to everybody to expand the pool of potential buyers of homes, which at the time made perfectly good sense. No, hey, I'm only mentioning this to remind you of the fact that there are plenty of sinners out there, and you guys are not exempt.
Neil, the point isn't whether we're for or against banks. Everybody knows that we need a strong financial sector in the economy.
Today it is about today it's about being against banks, which is fair. You could do that.
We're against.
That's what I didn't see any of your guys saying we love banks today.
The financial sector. We want the banks to stop lobbying Congress against financial reform, against a consumer protection agency. That is, we want them to change their behavior. There's no question about that.
Listen to what you just said. We're against the financial guys lobbying Congress, but you're perfectly fine with unions lobbying Congress and the White House for what they want. In other words, you guys can lobby all you want. If they lobby, that's bad.
Neil. It's the content of what we're lobbying for: workers' rights, for protections for workers, for a safe workplace. They're lobbying to stop oversight of the financial sector.
So wait a minute, you guys are you guys are saints, they're sinners?
Excuse me?
You guys are saints, they're sinners. You can lobby, they can't.
It's not about who can lobby. We're talking about what they're lobbying about. We are lobbying to protect the rights of workers. We're lobbying to protect good jobs, to create good jobs in the economy. They're lobbying to say, don't regulate us, don't create a consumer protection agency, don't have any oversight of Wall Street. So it's really the content, Neil. It's not whether somebody has a right to lobby or not.
They're not saying don't have any oversight of Wall Street. Just don't add layer upon layer of ineffective acronyms and agencies that don't really solve the problem but make a bigger mess of a problem. That's not saying
We
they're
don't want
against.
layer upon layer. We want one consumer protection agency that has oversight
Thea,
over
we've
the
got a
financial
dozen
sector.
of them. We've got a dozen of them. And
We
you're
don't
quite
need a
right
dozen.
to
We
point
need
out-
one.
Yeah, but say what you will. We're going to add a consumer protection, which might be fine. What they're saying is all your other police have screwed up, and now you're adding another layer of police, right?
No, we're getting rid of the layers that didn't work and putting one layer that will work.
No, you're not. You're just adding.
Yes, we are,
You're not
actually.
getting rid of the SEC. You're not getting rid of the CFTC. You're adding to it, which might be just fine and dandy, but don't tell people here on this show that you're doing something revolutionary, getting rid of all of them and replacing it by some super consumer agency.
Well, Neil, I don't know if you think that the financial sector is working really well right now, but our members don't think so. They don't think the financial sector has done a good job. They've given these huge bonuses to their folks at the same time as they took government money.
Fine.
We don't think that's working very well.
But
they're also not lending money to small businesses,
government
which
money
we think they
has
ought to be
found
doing.
its way to auto companies. It's found its way to more than bankers. So what I'm saying is they're not saints, but you guys certainly aren't saints. That's all I'm saying.
Nobody's a saint.
No, that's
Not
true.
you, not me.
That's true. I would never sign up to one, but let's just be fair. All right, Thea, thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
All righty. Okay, we got a lot more coming up. Man, oh man, it's going to be one of those